Emergency by Robert Browning. Hello, my name is Robert Browning, and this is a presentation on the application of human systems content for the 1970s television show Emergency. I'm a nationally registered paramedic and Texas licensed paramedic, and have been in the field of emergency medical services for 31 years. I currently train instructor cadre for the United States Army Combat Medic Program. I've been in the field of post-secondary education for 16 years now, focusing on civilian and military medical trauma training. Developing and revising curriculum has been a focal point of my position for the last 5 years. I hold a Bachelor of Applied Science and Medical Studies from Wayland Baptist University, San Antonio, and am a Master of Education candidate at Texas State University. Medicine is a constantly changing field of work, with some of our curriculum needing revision anywhere from every 6 months to every 5 years, depending on the content. Human interactions in the military and fire EMS services happens on a daily basis, not just between the providers and patients, but the EMS providers to other providers, nurses, and physicians. Since the fire service, EMS, and military share many commonalities, I thought it well to examine this within the content of a groundbreaking television show. Emergency was developed by Robert Sinander and Jack Webb as a spin-off of the popular show Adam 12, which itself was a spin-off of Dragnet. Mr. Sinander proposed this show after learning about a paramedic program being developed by the Los Angeles County Fire Department, where firefighters were trained in advanced medical care under the direct supervision of a physician at a base hospital. This series is a staple of many paramedics, and it certainly was for me. It drove me to want to be a paramedic. Since Mr. Sinander and Mr. Webb both drove to make realistic series that showcased the police and fire services, they utilized Los Angeles County Fire Department apparatus, stations, photo stock, and even a few LA County Fire Department personnel in the series. The station that the series was shot at, LA County Fire Station 127 in Carson City, was named after Mr. Sinander due to his efforts to promote the fire and paramedic services. The interactions depicted in the series were very similar to what I found when I entered the field in 1987. Our reference for this will be the production by R.A. Sinander and J. Webb in 1972, the television series Emergency, as released by Universal Television. In this presentation, I will present a summary of the program. I will then present topics about the program that demonstrate the application of complex adaptive systems and complex responsive systems. I will then close with a short conclusion. The series opens with a Los Angeles County firefighter, John Gage, seen on the left, as he works a fire with his crew and is then recruited for the paramedic program. He dismisses the idea, feeling that he can do more as a firefighter to save a life than being a paramedic. After rescuing a victim of a high-voltage electrocution who was pronounced dead upon arrival at Rampart General Hospital, he realizes that he did everything he could, but it wasn't enough. He decides to apply for the paramedic program. At his interview, he expressed concerns that the law does not allow him to practice medicine, even with the proper training. The firefighter interviewing him, Roy DeSoto, seen on the right, who just graduated from the first class of paramedics, explained that the laws before the state assembly and would pass, considering how many people die before reaching the hospital. Roy would eventually become John's partner in the series. Ambulance attendants in the day were usually hired by and the services ran by funeral homes. The attendants had very little medical training other than very basic first aid, much the same as the firefighters. Pivotal characters in the series are Dr. Kelly Brackett, strong-willed emergency physician and surgeon at Rampart General. He initially did not approve of the paramedic program, but he was pressured to help train John Gage's class by the other members of Rampart General. He felt better that a doctor or nurse would be better on scenes to provide medical care, and the paramedics would eventually kill a patient. During the pilot, however, he realized that the paramedic program would be the best fit to save the most lives until many more doctors can be brought in to go on scenes. He ended up testifying to the committee at the State Assembly promoting passage of the bill creating the paramedic licensure program in California. Throughout the series, he was rough on the paramedics, but began to respect them more and more as time went on. As imagined, he wasn't initially popular with those in the paramedic program until, of course, they learned of his change of heart in support of the bill. He served as the primary base doctor for many of the emergency squads. He is in the top picture, second to the left. Nurse Dixie McCall, an emergency room charge nurse at Rampart General who responded on a few calls with Gage and DeSoto before suffering an injury on scene. She is seen as a motherly figure to all around her. She was a staunch supporter of the paramedic program and backed them up often. She is in the top picture in the center. Dr. Joe Early, emergency physician and neurologist trusted by Dr. Brackett. He is easygoing and fully supported the paramedic program and earnestly trained them. Seen as the calm, cool, and collected doctor that can handle anything. He is to the right of Nurse McCall in the top picture. John Gage, firefighter, rescue man, newly trained paramedic. Young and single, he is always willing to help out anyone, especially if it is a pretty lady. He is the more young and gung-ho of the team. He's also the subject of many fire station pranks. Roy DeSoto, firefighter, lead paramedic, and former armor medic. He is mature and married with at least one child. He is soft-hearted but stern when it comes to treating patients. He is calm and cool under pressure. DeSoto and Gage are stationed at Fire Station 51 in Carson City on Squad 51 A shift. The other members of the A shift on the engine company are firefighter Chet Kelly, the prankster, seen second from the bottom center, firefighter Marco Lopez, third from the bottom center, firefighter specialist Mike Stoker, who was an actual Los Angeles County firefighter using his own name, who is the engineer in the bottom center, Captain Dick Hammer, the first season station officer who is not pictured, and Captain Henry Stanley, station officer for the remainder of the series on the far right. These men interact with Squad 51 on many scenes, and their interactions on both the scenes and in the station are pivotal to the discussion of human interaction. When we explore the concepts of complex adaptive systems, we look at the way the organization adapts to the environment through the agents and the organization as a whole. Organizations are made up of agents, in this case the firefighters. Each crew of an apparatus joins together to form a group that interacts on their own based on a set of rules and either positive or negative feedback to produce results. Each crew is assigned to a station consisting of 2 or more crews, which form one larger group that can act together at station or on a call if dispatched together. These station crews are assigned to a battalion chief, forming one of the larger groups or wholes. On assignment, multiple stations from multiple battalions can be assigned to work together. They are given an assignment by the battalion chief to carry out and then work independently to accomplish the task. The actions they do as a crew without further guidance could be to attack a part of a structure fire or handle a certain group of patients, as evidenced in many episodes. This is an example of self-organization and emergence, which is defined as an orderly pattern of behavior without a blueprint or direct guidance by local interaction. Although there is a larger blueprint for the fire department as a whole, the training of the firefighters and officers or managers takes over. On multiple occasions, Squad 51 and Engine 51 respond to a scene, and the crews interact, but also perform tasks independently, such as extricating a patient from a car or help with emergency care on the scene. When we look at the fire department in emergency as a complex responsive system, we start to see qualities such as cult values. Fire service and EMS is full of these behaviors. Cult values are defined as those behaviors that exist from evolution of a society. This is evident in a series such as when Gage brings in a station mascot, which is a dog, considered a good luck charm. Another example of a good cult value is the sense of cleanliness of the station and equipment. When a fire apparatus is clean, they are usually inspected by the fire station captain in inconspicuous areas, such as underneath a wheel well. Clean equipment will work better and last longer. During the day, the stations are well kept. Station areas for sleeping are made up neatly. However, bad cult values do exist, such as pranking. In the series, there are no shortages of pranks being played out by the crew, usually against Gage. Leadership is an interesting thing to notice in the series as well. There is a station captain. They usually ride on the engine company with the engineer or operator second in charge. When on a paramedic call with the squad, the paramedics switch to the in-charge role to a point. When on a mass casualty or large structure fire, the battalion chief takes command upon arrival, with individual officers leading their teams. The concept of norms takes shape even in the pilot. Norms provide a basis for evaluating and choosing between desires and actions. They help us by connecting with morals for decision-making of what should be done and what is right. For example, on a scene where Nurse McCall is injured and in need of advanced treatment, before they were legally allowed to do so, Gage and DeSoto decided to initiate treatment to save the lives of not only Nurse McCall, but the two others on the scene. Although it was not legally right, it was what they ought to have done, and they judged it to be the right thing to do. So in conclusion, we look at season 7, and in the finale, Gage and DeSoto are promoted to captain and given their own stations to be in charge of. They are somewhat apprehensive about this, as they loved being paramedics, and they will no longer be able to do so. However, they will both continue to train and mentor new medics. The good thing about this is that through their experiences and great mentorship, they received good leadership training. This series displays not only an excellent example of realistic fire department and paramedic interaction not seen since the series has ended, but excellent examples of both complex adaptive and complex responsive systems. Here's a list of the references used for this presentation, both the direct reference for emergency as listed earlier in the presentation, but also this text by Stacy and Moles on strategic management and organizational dynamics. I want to thank you for listening to my presentation today, and if you have any questions, here is my email address. Feel free to email me with any comments or concerns. Thank you.